What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Virtue Bowling Supply YouTube channel. Today we have another comparisons ball review featuring the new Brunswick Beyond Infinity. As always, we have two testers. Today our speed dominant or straighter tester is going to be Josh Molloy, and our rev dominant two-hander is Nick Barrio. They both are bowling for GCU, up-and-coming great players. Let's see what they're going to be comparing to and what they think of this new bowling ball. Up first, we have our two-hander, Nick Barrio. He's going to be comparing to a Brunswick Quantum Evo Response and a 900 Global Reality Check. So let's see what he thinks.
So far, I'm loving the Beyond Infinity. We're bowling on about a 47-foot Statue of Liberty shot, so not a house shot, I believe. It's definitely not going to be one of the first balls out of my bag, but definitely as that wet, dry, that big, dry, wet condition cliff starts bringing, I'm definitely getting that ball out. When that pearl ball is just a bit too lazy down lane and it starts a flat 10, or those big solid balls just to read early and not continuing through the pins, that Beyond Infinity really blends that gap between those wet, dry conditions and hooks really early in a round motion. So it's going to be one of the best balls I'm going to bring out. So from that Beyond Infinity, I'm going to drop down and go into my reality check. It's a bit cleaner through those front and mid parts of the lane, and it really checks the down lane, hence the name reality check. So that Beyond Infinity, as I said, it's a lot earlier and rounder through that lane, and that reality check, it's just a lot cleaner and checks through that down lane motion. And so when I'm transitioning throughout the day, sometimes that ball just gets a bit lazy down the lane and doesn't want to kick that 10 out. So I can easily just ball up to that Beyond Infinity, and it's going to read that mid lane a lot better than that reality check would. The last ball is going to be a pearl. It's going to be my Quantum Evo Response. It's going to be a bit later than my reality check and a lot more cleaner through the front and mid lane. Yeah, so my Quantum Evo's the last ball in the bag. It's when that burn, dry conditions come out. My Quantum Evo just goes way down lane and checks, which is what I really like on those burn conditions. But when those burn conditions come into play, I'm probably not going to throw that Beyond Infinity, just because it's so controllable and round. I'm worried it's going to read that mid lane too much and then not carry enough through the pins. So that Quantum Evo is going to be my last ball. I can also step up to that Beyond Infinity earlier in the day. So with that Beyond Infinity, I'm gonna have to rate it fire. It's a pretty good ball. I've only thrown it on long. I'd have to see what it does on short and medium length patterns. But with that early motion, I know what it's gonna do every time almost. It's super round and controllable, which is what I really like about it. I'd love to put some shine on it, see if it goes a bit longer, see how it reacts later in the day. But so far, it's a pretty good ball. I'm not sure how this would work out for tournament play bowlers, but for definitely league bowlers, I would highly recommend this ball. Whether you throw it fast, you have a low rev rate, high rev rate, you throw it slow, this ball is really controllable. It's what I really like about it. You know what it's going to do every time. For those tournament play bowlers, I feel like that ball is just a little bit too specific for certain patterns, and it might not work on other patterns depending how you throw it. But definitely for those league bowlers, it's not a ball you're going to want to miss out on.
Up next, we have Josh Molloy, our straighter player. He is a captain for the GCU bowling team. He's going to be comparing to the original Infinity and also a Virtual Energy Blackout, one of his go-to bowling balls. Let's see what he thinks.
So just through the first 10 shots, I'm really in love with this ball. I really like how it sees the lane early, but it still doesn't want to quit down lane. It still continues through the pins, and that's what I really like. I feel like I can throw this on a couple different variety of patterns and still have that continuation through the back end. So now I'm going to throw the Infinity, the original Infinity. Just throw a couple shots with that, see, how it differs from the Beyond Infinity. So just threw 5 shots with the original Infinity and immediately could tell that it picked up a lot earlier than the Beyond Infinity. It really wanted to kind of dig in the front part of the lane, which definitely forced me a little bit further left, but you could definitely see how it didn't really want to shape as well off the end of the pattern. Right now, just for how little torch they are in the front, I definitely like the Beyond Infinity ball motion a lot better. Definitely wanted to do the right thing through the pins. So I'm going to throw 5 shots with the Storm Virtual Energy Blackout. I'm curious to see how much different it forces me in the different part of the lane. From bowling in college, that ball has definitely been my go-to ball recently. Really controls the fronts with still providing shape down lane. So I'm curious to see how it differs from the Beyond Infinity. So just threw 5 shots with the Storm Virtual Energy Blackout. Overall, I feel like the shapes are pretty close compared to the Beyond Infinity. I feel like it did force me a little bit further left. I just had a little bit of surface on it from a previous tournament, so definitely created a little bit more early friction, but still had that smooth overall down lane shape and really did want to continue through the pins, which is what I love to see as a bowler, because it gives me early hook, but still wants to do the right thing down lane. It doesn't want to quit when it sees the pins. Overall, I feel like the Beyond Infinity definitely was a little bit cleaner through the fronts, but still provided that overall shape. So definitely a ball that I would go to probably after the Virtual Energy Blackout, just kind of a little bit of a ball down, but still giving me overall that same control that I'm looking for, especially when they're a little bit harder. So for me, I definitely would give this one a nuts rating. I am in love with this ball. Overall, I really like how it gets through the fronts, but still gives me control down lane. That is, for me, that's like the perfect ball in my point of view. That's exactly why I like the Virtual Energy Blackout. And to me, like I said, those two are very close, and that is probably top 5 in all time for me. So I really like the shape that it gives me. Really looking forward to see if I can actually replace that ball heading into postseason. So we'll see what it does. So for me, I feel like just this would probably benefit more of the house shot slash, honestly, a little bit of both. I feel like when a house shot later in the day, like game 2, game 3, when they start to get a little fried, but you still need to play that that same area of the lane, this ball will definitely get through the fronts, but still keep going down lane. Doesn't want to stop, but still overall smooth, which is also why I think it would benefit tournament bowlers. For me, I'd probably want to knock off the shine just a little bit, depending on how much the sport shot is hooking. We're bowling here, so it's very early friction house, and I feel like that benefited me a little bit more. But if I went to, say, another center where they were a little bit more oily in the front, I definitely want to knock off the shine a little bit. But I really like, again, how it really hooks early but doesn't spark early, still wants to get down lane and still continues through the pins. In the shop, I can see this being a nice kind of ball down from, say, like a reality check, or kind of those asim hybrids like an outer limits. I feel like that would definitely be comparable, something nice to go to once that ball kind of hits that cliff kind of feel where it gets outside, doesn't flat 10, miss inside, doesn't really want to see the right spot of the lane. This is definitely a nice ball down to go to from that.
We hope you found this video useful. As always, if you like videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.